So I am going to introduce myself and then I'm going to ask each one of our panel guests to introduce themselves as well. My name is Carrie Carlson. My pronouns are she, her, and I work with the Tennessee Disability Coalition. And I am going to ask people to also tell how many Disability Day on the Hills they've been to. So this will be my eighth one that I've attended. And then why Disability Day on the Hill is important to them. Um, so Disability Day on the Hill is important to me because I am a person with a disability. Um, Obviously, I work with the Tennessee Disability Coalition, so this is our massive event of the year. Um, and I want to make sure that everybody with a disability has equal access to our community. So that is me. And Leah, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself also, name, pronouns, and of course, I'd like for you to say who you work with, number of times at Disability Down the Hill, and then why it's important to you. And we'll kind of go from there, and I'll call on people. Thank you.
Well, this is Leah. I am the Peers Program Coordinator. I work with Family Voices of Tennessee. And this will be my pronouns are she, her. And I believe this is my third Disability Day on the Hill, maybe my fourth. I can't remember because I'm old now. But it's always a good time. So, and thank you all for being here tonight. Before I move on to the next one, I just wanted to do some quick housekeeping with our interpreters. So our interpreter Summer will be asking the questions with the moderator. So for anybody that's deaf or hard of hearing on the call this evening, look to Summer for the moderator questions and look to our interpreter Catherine for our panelist answers. And so just for our panelists, just make sure that you're speaking one at a time, come off mute and say your name just like I did when I came on. So that lets everybody know who is speaking at that time. So did I miss anything, interpreters? I'm going to break that little fourth wall real quick. All right. So thank you all again. And let's go to Christy.
I'm Christy Herby. This will be my second year. I'm she, her. Disability Day on the Hill is important to me because I have a daughter that has special needs. Plus, I work with a lot of children with special needs, and I want everyone to be able to be in the community together.
Thank you. And I'm going to go to Alicia.
Hi, everybody. I am Alicia, and I go by the pronouns she, her. I have been to Disability on the Hill 3 times, but they all been virtual. And why it's important to me is because representation matters. It creates a space for people with disabilities as well as their caregivers, a chance to be seen, a chance to be heard, a chance to be respected, and their experiences shape public policies rather than being overlooked.
This is Carrie. Thank you. And Jessica, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jessica Peggs. Preferred pronoun she, her. This is going to be my second year attending DDH, and why is DDH important to me? Because I have a 13-year-old son with multiple disabilities who I just care and I love so much. And I also just here to support the caregivers, and I enjoy the opportunity to spend time with like-minded people so we can come together and advocate for caregivers and better disability supports throughout the state of Tennessee.
This is Carrie. Thank you, Jessica. And Bliss, could you please introduce yourself?
Did you call on me? This is Bliss. Okay, sorry. Somebody walked into my room and I couldn't hear. My name is Bliss Welch. I go by the pronouns she, her. I have been to Disability Day on the Hill 4 times. And it's important to me because I have muscular dystrophy and I am a full-time wheelchair user. And so it's just really nice to be able to know that your voice is heard and not just your voice, but the voice of other Tennesseans across the state. And it's so great to see everybody in the hallways representing the disability population.
This is Carrie. Thank you. And Shanti, you haven't went yet, right?
Hi, this is Shanti. Um, I think my pronouns are she, her. I have probably been to DDH maybe 3 or 4 times. Um, it's important to me because my daughter, who has a disability, she's important to me, and my community is important to me, and access and inclusion is important to me. So I feel like attending DDH is the reason why I attend.
Okay, this is Carrie. Thank you. I didn't miss anybody, did I? No. Okay, so thank you all so much. And how this is going to go, I have prepared our panel guests, and thank you all so much for sharing your experience tonight. Because that's a really I think one of the most important parts about having these workshops and coming to DDH is knowing kind of what to expect because we're all going to have a different experience, but hearing from you all. So thank you so much. Um, but I did share the questions. So what we're going to do is I'm going to call on the panelists by name and ask a question, but then I'm going to also open it up to everybody else in case somebody else wants to give their experience also. And we are going to start with Jessica. So, Jessica, this is some advice for first timers, if you will, right? Somebody who maybe that's a first time at DDH, or maybe they haven't been in a while. So, what advice would you give to somebody who's attending Disability Day on the Hill for the first time? Um, and or what do you wish you had known for the first time attending Disability Day on the Hill?
Okay, well, this is Jessica. The first piece of advice I would recommend is attending events like this. I wish that I know we had some pre-training, but it wasn't as extensive as the weekly sessions that we have going on right now. So kudos to everybody that's here and that's been here and that will watch it later. The next thing is to remain flexible. Always remember that things don't go as planned. I went in thinking things would go as planned, and it didn't. We had issues with the elevator, so you had to modify your timing. And the legislators might be running behind as well. Uh, the friendly, next thing is parking. I didn't think about the parking, and I believe last year there was some construction going on that I found out when I got there. So I don't know if the construction is still going on. What I do appreciate is that the next training, I believe, is going to go into detail. Hopefully, the video is still going to show us what it looks like on the outside, especially for wheelchair users. And then it was also a delay with the elevator. So if you're able to use the stairs, I would recommend taking the stairs as a shortcut, especially if you're already on 2 or 3 going to 4 or 5, just to get there a little bit faster and to keep the elevators open for people who really need them. Um, Pack your snack bag. My son, he loves to eat. That they will provide you lunch, but that might not be enough for some people. It was not enough for us. And utilize the sensory room. I did not utilize the sensory room last year. I will utilize the sensory room for myself.
Okay.
This year it is available. So if you need an icebreaker or if you feel nervous, recommend tag teaming or taking a friend with you. My very first meeting with the legislator, I went with the group with the Tennessee Caregiver Coalition, and that just really broke the ice for me. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Great advice, Jessica. And yes, we are going to go into a lot of those points that you mentioned next week. So, yes, thank you. Um, did anybody else want to give any advice on um, first time, what to expect, anything like that? Any of our
I'll
panel?
hop on. This is
Yeah.
Alicia. Jessica gave very good advice. But I just want to add, go in knowing that your story matters. Legislators are moved by your lived experiences. If you have to cry, cry. It's a form of letting them know how serious you are about policies and how it affects you if you have a disability, or how it affects the person that you're caring for. Because they really want to know. Legislators, they have a presumed idea of what they think will work for the disability community, but they're not actually in the disability community. So go in knowing that what you say will be impactful, and and stand on it.
Yeah, this is Carrie. Okay, thank you. That was great advice. Um, and so we are going to move on to the next question. And Alicia, you can just stay off of mute because I'm going to you with this one. So this is disability advocacy. So are there any bills or legislation, and unless you want to, you don't have to disclose if you're for or against particular legislation, but that you are really focused on speaking to your legislator about during your meetings this year?
Well, this year, unfortunately, I will not be able to attend due to my work schedule. So I'm not, there's not a particular bill or policy that I'm looking at, but if I could speak on past experience, there was a bill that came out um, that dealt with how the school system dealt with behavior, and how, I won't say punish, but if that's the word that's going to make sense, and how to deal with those kids with disabilities, even though they have an IEP, even though their IEP may be behavior issues or whatever the case might be. So that was one policy that I was totally against, and that was one that I was able to speak to my legislator about.
This is Carrie. Thank you. And you just gave me a big exclamation point for a reminder for next week on how you, even if you can't come to Disability Down the Hill, you can still reach out to your legislators. But we'll really go into that next week. I know. But does anybody else want to quickly answer this question as well?
This is Bliss. I do have one bill that I would like to talk to my representatives about. It's HB 1457, and it is a bill that would allow women in their second and third trimesters to park in the accessible parking places. I drive with hand controls from my wheelchair, and there is already not enough accessible parking available. And so I want to be able to explain that to my representatives.
This is Carrie. Thank you, Bliss. Yes, I'm watching this bill very closely myself. So thank you. Um, yeah, yes, we are monitoring this one, I promise you. So thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next question. And this one is for Shanti. So, unexpected challenges. I know that we've heard some already, and that's okay if you have more to say about any of those. But were there any challenges or surprises you did not expect when you attended Disability Day on the Hill? And how did you handle those if you
Mhm.
experienced any?
I would say some of the, I'm sorry, this is Shanti. The unexpected challenges, well, I would say it's kind of some advice. And when you go, maybe write down what room number the person that you're going to see is in. So, like, you don't go all the way up to seventh floor and then you go down to this. So, kind of like do that. And then you can see where the rooms are when you're standing. In the entrance, it'll tell you. There'll be people to help you to see where are you going exactly, who you want to see, and you get those room numbers. Some unexpected things last year where a lot of the lawmakers were not in their rooms. And so it kind of gave a lot of free time, but you just go with the flow, go to who you can see next. But so Michaela and I, we were out in the hallway, and G.A. Hardaway happened to be out there. So I was like, I'm just going to go up to him and talk to him. So when I spoke to him, he said, "Oh, I'm going to invite you to our lunch meeting," and that was so amazing because a lot of his other colleagues were there. So we ended up talking to everyone at once. Mind you, we had to wait our turn. So we were there longer than expected, but we got to speak to people that we were trying to see them and they weren't in their rooms. So that was an unexpected challenge that turned out to be great.
This is Carrie. Thank you for that. Yes, that you experience something that not a lot of people get to experience at DDH, I think. Um, so does anyone else want to talk about any unexpected challenges or barriers?
I had, this is Jessica. I
Yeah.
had something I would like to add. I don't know if I would consider this an unexpected challenge, but something happened that was unexpected to me. I had a appointment with a representative, and I'm thinking that I'll be talking to the representative, and it wasn't. It was an office staff member. So it was just a different, which he listened, and I felt like it was productive, but it was just different because I had something set in my mind. So that goes back to trying to always remain flexible because you never know what's going to happen. Yeah, thank you.
This is Carrie. Jessica, thank you for that. That happens often, um, especially if you know, a legislator gets called into a meeting or something. And we will, I don't, I'm going to say it again. We will talk about that a little bit more next week. And it's not always bad to talk to a staffer either, because sometimes our legislators do listen to us. Um, but sometimes the staff, they're not as rushed, so they listen a little bit more in depth. And I they'll take notes when sometimes your legislature will not. So just things to think about. But I'm going to go on to the next question. And Bliss, this one is for you. Oh, and Christy, I have to come back to you. I apologize. I went too far, but that's okay. So what, my screen just moved. Okay. What is something you wish you had known? Things that you had known. What is something you wish you had known before attending DDH? And this doesn't have to be just for your first time, but maybe I know DDH has transitioned a little bit. So is there something you wish you had known before attending?
This is Bliss. Yes, I attended my first Disability Day on the Hill in 2020, and at that point, I did not realize that the Tennessee Disability Coalition had tons of information to give you, or disability rights, or the Council on Developmental Disabilities. Tennessee has so many great organizations and agencies that help prepare you for Disability Day on the Hill. And so that's something that, as a first timer, I wish I would have known. And then, of course, the day is so busy, and there's people everywhere in the hallways. And like some people have already said, the elevators are pretty hectic and slow. And so just kind of be prepared for that. And meetings run behind. And I know that's already been touched on as well, but really just all the great resources that we have in Tennessee. I wish I would have known about that for before I went for my first one.
This is Carrie. Thank you. And as the host of Disability Day on the Hill, I'm going to say a lot of times, and I think Leah will agree, we wish we knew about all of the organizations giving out information too, because it is great. And uh, and there's a lot out there. It's accessing it because people do have they do have forums like this kind of. So getting all the information, it's so much that I don't think we can put it all in one place. Um, but is there anybody else who would like to talk about this one? If not, that's okay. I know we kind of already touched on this a little bit. Okay. So, Christy, this one is going to come to you. So, defining success, right? And this is going to look different for everyone. What has made Disability Day on the Hill feel successful for you?
This is Christy. It made me more ready to advocate for what I think we need and bills that we need passed. I actually was there for the Family Caregiver Act because me and my husband take care of my daughter. And I went into one legislator's room. He didn't have anybody in there. And he asked me why I was there. And he was very, very nice and talking to me. And I told him I was there with the Family Caregiver Act. And he happened to know my husband. And we was talking. And he went and signed off on it right then. He signed it, went next door and handed it to them. So that made me excited. And we're ready to try to do more there. And I'm so excited about going this year. But I also want to mention if it's your first time, it is very overwhelming. I was very overwhelmed. It takes you a few minutes, and I have kind of came out of my shell now where I do talk more. So it's an awesome experience.
This is Carrie. Thank you for that. And yes, it is overwhelming even for myself. And I've been there a few times. It is an overwhelming experience. But would anyone else like to talk about that one? No. Okay. Well, I'm going to open this question up to all of the panel guests we have tonight. And you all can come off of mute. You can raise your hands. Whatever works, we just have to remember not to talk over each other for the interpreters. And, so we can hear. This is about the impact beyond Disability Day on the Hill, right? So Disability Day on the Hill is the 2 days. But has participating in Disability Day on the Hill had an impact on your local advocacy or community work? And if your answer to that is yes, could you tell us what that looks like in your local community or how that has helped you accomplish anything, if it has?
This is Alicia. My answer to that question is yes. And being at DDH helped me understand how policy connects to everyday experiences. Since participating, I am more intentional about being engaged in conversations around disability rights, supporting inclusive practices, advocating for my students with disabilities, and excuse me, and just for the disability community in general. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Carrie. Anybody else?
This is Christy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. It has really impacted me because I talk more about what is going on. And sometimes I guess I talk too much because my husband tells me I need to be quiet because I have a voice now and my voice has not stopped. So it really helps. I love helping parents and families now. Actually, it feels good for them to call you and say, hey, what do you know about this? Thank you.
This is Carrie. Thank you. Tell your husband you need to just keep talking about it, right? But anybody else? Shanti, I saw you throwing hearts up earlier.
Sure. This is Shanti. I feel like for me, it has continued in my everyday living by continuing to serve, like on our state DD council, my local ARC of the Mid South, and the national ARC, the state of Tennessee ARC. I serve in the school system as a parent council member on the DEE for MSCS. I'm just a vice chair, but education is important to me and inclusion and advocacy. So I try to push in that direction when in my advocacy. I try to encourage other parents that I meet in that advocacy, parents and caregivers, to stand up for themselves when it comes to education for their child. Um, I just participate in serving more in the community and attending like the events at the city council meetings, things like that. It just kind of trickles down. And even if you can't get anywhere in person, you can always write, email, or call. You can always use your voice.
This is Carrie. Thank you. Those were all amazing points. I am going to ask you though to say what DEE is in MSCS because not everybody's from Memphis on the call.
Okay, I apologize.
No, it's okay. I do
Okay,
it too.
my fault. The MSCS is the Memphis and Shelby. I'm sorry, this is Shanti. MSCS is just an acronym for the Memphis and Shelby County School System. And the DEE is their disability council for parents of children. And then they have a council for the students as well, so that their voices can be heard, whether they're verbal or nonverbal. I do love that. But it's just a branch of the special education department. for exceptional department of exceptional for exceptional children that they created. So when they create things like this, we need to join and be a part of it so that we can show them, yeah, we mean business.
This is Carrie. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And that was a beautiful explanation. I could not have given it like that. So thank you. Does anybody else, Alicia, Bliss?
Hey, this is Jessica. I would like to speak on that question. So, 2025 DDH, that was my first event. And just like everybody else talked about, we went in I guess, the speaker hall where they do the voting, and we were there, and the testimony was powerful. Just being in that room really kind of transformed the way that I advocate, connecting with the other caregivers that were there. I already know Shanti and Alicia, I think Christy. We probably briefly spoke a little bit back in 2025, but just being in that community, knowing I have a set of people who I'm already connected with, that just was very impactful to me. And I shared that to the residents in Memphis. Just like Shanti, I am also involved in my son's school. He attends Shrine School in Memphis, Tennessee. That's with the Memphis City Shelby County Schools. I am the president for our parent support group at that school. A lot of the parents and families are not able to come to DDH. So, in the meeting, we talked about how to tell the story. We have a meeting next week. I'll be collecting letters, like what everybody said, put the address, the suite where the letter is going to go. And I'm going to deliver those letters for the parents and the caregivers who are not physically able to get to Nashville. So that's how it impacts me. I am on the mayor's council in the city of Memphis for their disability. I am the Memphis ambassador for the Tennessee Caregiver Coalition. So this is what I love to do. This is my identity. This just keeps me something. It just does something for me. So I cannot wait, and I'm so excited. And if you're not able to come, if you're able to email me your letter, you could do that. Just put what suite number it needs to get to, because I'm ready to get my steps in. Thank you.
This is Carrie. Thank you. And thank you for delivering those, Jessica. Does anybody, Bliss, Alicia, either one of y'all? It's okay if not.
This is Alicia. Bliss and I already answered that question.
I'm sorry. Yes, you did. Um, too many questions, right? Um, okay, so we're gonna go to the next one since you guys did answer that. So Disability Day on the Hill has changed over the last, since I started going. The community party used to be a legislative reception, right? Thankfully, like we love our legislators, but I'm glad that we transitioned because the community party is now a time for the disability community to come together and enjoy ourselves in our community the night before going to see all the legislators, right? So, is there anything that has changed that you all really appreciate, or even something that we used to do that people would like to see come back again, or change that you don't particularly care for? These workshops are we want your feedback on this. That's why we're asking. So is there anything, any good or negative changes throughout the years that you've seen with Disability Day on the Hill? And this is to anyone. I know we talked about the workshops. We're loving these.
I love that you do these. I'm glad. Thank you for inviting me to be a panelist as well. This is amazing. Wish I would have done this a little more in the beginning. Um, I would say I have not, I normally would take the bus that arrives the first day, but now I like to attend the day, make it to Nashville the day before. And I look forward to attending the community event. So I would always focus on just getting there for to meet the legislators, but I think community will give more encouragement and just give you community and more, just like a little more power to go in there with your head up. And this is Shanti speaking first.
This is Carrie. Thank you, Shanti. Yes, we're excited you're coming for that. Anyone else? We can open it up to questions if not. I will tell you guys, I am excited that, because I've seen a lot of changes at DDH. And I am excited that we're having these, but that we're also having the workshops during DDH to do the leave behinds. And it is really changed the atmosphere of being at DDH, right? It makes it more of a not so intimidated and might I say stuffy environment. It's a little it makes everything so much funner. Um, but if nobody else has anything, I'm gonna open it up for questions. Is that okay? Oh yeah, that's Leah. You still have time. Yes. Um, trying to read the chat. I apologize. And if
This
anybody,
is Leah Carey.
yeah,
I'm on the spot with the chat. So, one
okay.
great question that was in the chat was, do we still have time to make appointments with our legislators? And yes, there is still plenty of time to make appointments, but don't wait too long.
This is Carrie. Thank you. Yes. And does anybody on the panel want to explain their experience making appointments? Because I know it is so different depending on who your legislator is and your method of making those appointments.
Hey, this is Jessica. I would like to speak on that. So I did attempt to schedule my appointments maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I believe at that time there were a lot of issues with the legislative websites. So now everything should be up and running. But if not, you can always Google the legislator and their email address and also their office staff. The office staff will more than likely be the one to schedule the appointments. Same, just try to be flexible. Whatever they offered to me, I just took it. I already had my plan set up on how many meetings I want to do. Make sure I have enough time to space out to use that sensory room. And that's it.
This is Carrie. Thank you.
This is Leah. I'm going to read a couple of the questions that we had in the chat
Thank you.
because I think they are important questions to be answered. So one of the first ones is there a significance in staying in the downtown hotels as opposed to the outskirts?
This is Carrie. My opinion is I don't live in Nashville. I so somebody who lives in the area can speak more intelligently about this. But I think Nashville traffic is terrible. So what I feel like it's whatever you're more comfortable with. Um, if you like the drive in the morning, that's awesome. Um, I'll let somebody else talk about this though. And Uber if you can. Oh,
This is Shanti. I would say I've stayed on the outskirts before, as opposed to, I think it was just kind of booked up for this in the downtown area. The parking will be more expensive, and the parking's like non existent. Parking fees are kind of non existent in the outskirts, but you might have to get up a little earlier to get to Cordell Hall. So that's my only, and then and the hotels may be cheaper on the outskirts than in downtown. So it's all on your how your budget is.
this is Carrie. I do have one comment about the hotels. Um, there is a link on the registration or on the website where you can use a link to get a discount through the Hilton. I think it's the Home too. So if you use that link, Nashville hotels are more expensive, but it's a little bit of a help. So on the website you can find that. I'll let you go back to questions, Leah. Sorry.
Thank you. This is Leah. So, another question that we had that was really great is, do we know any of the bills that we would like to discuss for at DDH?
This is Carrie. That's a really great question. Um, the TDC is not, we did not write any legislation this year, like usually. We are still watching, the caregiver bill. There's some, not sure if any changes will happen with that. Um, and, Bliss brought up a really good one. Uh, we're still going through all of the disability related legislation that has been proposed. And so next week, and moving closer to Disability Down the Hill, I know that we will be sending out a final list. And the day of, we will also have that available. But we will get that list out. We will have a list next week that everybody can look at. And it'll be put in that Google folder as well. So, yes, there are some that we're looking at. I just don't have a list with me tonight. I apologize. Next week we will though. Leah, you had one, I know. Did that pass though? That passed, right? Okay.
Well, there are two bills. There's a lead K bill um, that is waiting to be passed. And that's just talking about tracking language acquisition for deaf and hard of hearing children in our state, from birth to about 10 years old. And that does not, it's not talking about choosing language modality or anything like that, just tracking language and making sure that children have an effective way to use language, whether it's in ASL or listening and spoken language, whatever their language modality is. Another one is, oh, thank you. Somebody put it in the chat for me. And so it's Bill 1957 sponsored by Lead K, and it is to allow the state to collect data on children that are deaf and hard of hearing. Another one also is an interpreter licensure bill. And I do not have the information on hand about that one, but there is going to be a Deaf Day on the Hill on February 18th. And then to piggyback off of that, there will also be Disability Day on the Hill. So there's a couple of chances for people to educate themselves on things that the deaf community is experiencing in our state, and how that impacts education, work, play, all of those things. So please feel free to join in. And February 18th may be a good way for you guys to kind of get your feet wet in preparation for Disability Day on the Hill if you're in town. So all are welcome.
This is Carrie. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? I didn't see any, but you know me. I'm Well, if we don't have any other questions, I want to, because we're getting close on time. So I know that I keep plugging this, right? We are supposed to have this workshop last week, and that's okay. We are Mother Nature is her own thing, right? We cannot control her. Um, and I so we moved last week's workshop to next week. And that workshop is going to go through, you're going to get a video of the community party at the Adventure Science Center, what to expect there. And we do have one video about, what your day at Cordell Hall might look like. Now, a few fabulous people at the TDC, along with a special helper, did a new video. So that video goes from the parking lot to the adult size height adjustable changing table to, going through security. I haven't seen it, so I think all this stuff is in there. I've been told. So it's really going to be a how your day could look like, but we're also going to talk about that legislation, the workshops, those elevators that can take, I mean, I've stood there for 5 to 7 minutes one time, right? They can take a long time. So, really, what your day might possibly look like all the way up until leaving. Also, um, you know, is it possible to schedule a meeting if you walk up to a legislator's office, right? We're going to cover all that. As I said to somebody, it's going to be stacked, right? We're going to start right on time. Um, and do we have any other questions, or do any other panelists have any last things to say before we give you guys the rest of your night back?
This is Shanti. I just want to give just a little advice. I know it can be a polarizing time right now, but whether you're a Democrat or Republican or whichever party that you identify with, please talk to all legislators, no matter what their party affiliation is, because you'll need all of their votes. So they all need to know how we feel about our community. So please talk with everyone, especially just knowing like if you want to get a bill passed or if you create a bill, you'll need a sponsor from both sides. So please talk to everybody and be encouraged.
This is Carrie. Shanti, thank you. I think that is amazing advice. Disability does not have a political party. And yes, you do need both. I mean, it's a disability is a nonpartisan issue. Anyone else? Panelists, any last words of advice?
Hey, this is Jessica. I just wanted to say if you are nervous, it's okay to write down what you want to say and read it off the paper, and you can always leave that as a leave behind it, a piece of you leave behind as well.
This is Carrie. Thank you, Jessica. Alicia or Christy?
Sure, why not? This
Yeah.
is Alicia. I just want to add to what these ladies have already add. Just be yourself and speak your truth. Your truth goes a long way. And as Shanti said, you need both parties. And as long as they know that you're passionate about what you're speaking of, that will carry you a long way. And then in essence, that would ease that nervousness that you might have.
This is Carrie. Thank you. Christy, you got about 30 seconds.
Okay, really fast.
Okay.
I took a note for that my daughter had wrote and left it with everyone that I talked with. And it was something from her and she wanted to send a picture. So I left that. So just some little something that you can leave with them works awesome.
This is Carrie. Thank you to all of our panelists. You guys gave amazing advice tonight. Thank you to our interpreters. We appreciate y'all so much. And we'll see you guys next week and hopefully at Disability Day on the Hill. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you for having